unfair. Ginawa ba nila yan kay Marcos? Hindi nila ginawa yan kay Marcos. Kay BP Sara lang, no?
Term, ano po yung idinulog ninyo sa Korte Suprema na may kaugnayan dito po sa impeachment versus VP Sara?
Well, sa ating mga kababayan, magandang gabi po sa kanilang lahat. Idinulog po natin yun sa Korte Suprema, 188 pages po yun na petisyon. Kasi nga po sa tingin natin ay may grave abuse of discretion amounting to lack or excess of jurisdiction.
From Yusek Claire's current situation, it's very hard to decide what you could be doing right because she has to defend the current administration, which is so filled with controversies and scandals that it's basically impossible for her to defend.
So it's not so much that yung pag sinasabi mong maraming galit kay Yusek Claire or marami siya nakakaaway, it's because of her difficult position having to defend this administration. What
And
about
she has to defend practically every decision and every issue.
Ang ginawa yung House of Committee on Justice. Alam niyo po, under the 1987 Constitution, Article 8, Section 1, ang Korte Suprema po ay binigyan ng kapangyarihan ng ating saligang batas ng ating 1987 Constitution to look into the actions of other branches of government, including the House of Representatives and even the Committee on Justice, if they are performing within the allocated powers that they have under the 1987 Constitution. Now, kung sumobra na sila, katulad sa ginawa nito, pwede tayong dumulog. No? Any citizen, maski sino po, ay pwede pong dumulog, any taxpayer or citizen, doon sa Korte Suprema, kaya para questionin ito, para hindi po maging abuso, walang grave abuse of discretion. Ito yung ginawa natin. Bakit natin ginawa ito? Una, dapat nga po, yung threshold level pa lang ng trabaho ng Committee on Justice, at the very least, yung third and fourth impeachment complaint, dapat dinispis na po yun. Ano po yun? Kasi wala pong sufficiency in form and sufficiency in substance. Ipaliwanag ko lang sandali ha. Yung third complaint, dapat dismissible outright yun. Kasi nga po, sa rason lang na yung nag-endorse noon ay si Congresswoman De Lima. Siya din yung nag-endorse doon sa second complaint. Ang sabi pa nga niya, yung third complaint ay improved version daw. Ang mali po nito, ang endorsement kasi isa sa cross-sanct sacred process. Ito po yung constitutional filter po. Ano yung constitutional filter? Dito po sana sinasala ng ating mga congressman kung ang kanilang complaint na pipepermahan ay naaayon ba doon sa mga allegations na mag-equivalent to the crimes of grave violation of Constitution, graft and corruption, bribery, other high crimes, no? Na mga constitutional impeachable offenses. So pag-certify nila, pag-endorse nila, it is as if they already filtered it and they believe to their heart and mind, certify that they are actually, the complaint is already fit to be filed, no, in the House of Representatives because it has ultimate facts charging the impeachable crime. Hindi naman po pwede na endorse siya sa second complaint. At the same time, I am also endorsing the third complaint. Violation po yan. Akin yan to a violation on non-forum shopping. Oo. Hindi po pwede na i-certify mo itong isa and at the same time certify din itong isa. Hindi na constitutional filter yan. Conveyor belt na yan na maski you will use the endorsement process as an avenue, as a chance for you to, politically harass a political opponent, which is actually done here. Yung fourth complaint naman, reiteration lang ng mga complaint doon sa previous na complaint na na-dismiss na at saka maski sa first, second, and third. Meron lang dinagdag yung affidavit ata ni Madriaga. Pero ang mali kasi doon, sa tingin natin ay ito, no? Yung mga allegations doon ay walang ultimate facts na nagsasaad under Rule 3, Section 5 ng rules ng House of Representatives on impeachment na may mga allegations sufficient na mag-charge ng mga impeachable offenses such as grave violation of Constitution, graft and corruption, bribery. Kasi yun ang dapat na batayan. Bakit yun ang dapat na batayan? Doon kasi sa impeachment complaint ni Presidente Marcos, sabi nila, dinismiss nila kasi wala daw ultimate facts, wala daw sapat na ebidensya, wala daw sufficient nexus, wala daw sufficient linkage yung mga krimen na nakasaad doon with respect to Presidente Marcos. Oh, ganun pala eh. Wala palang ultimate facts eh. Eh bakit pag sa kay Marcos, dinismiss nila kaagad dito kay Vice President Sara Duterte? Hindi nila dinismiss. Nag-issue pa sila ng mga sabina para mangalap ng may ebidensya para palakasin yung complaint. Ginawa ba nila yon kay Marcos? Hindi. Eh bakit nila gagawin nito ngayon kay Vice President Sara Duterte? Hindi ba violation ito ng Equal Protection Clause of the 1987 Constitution? Yung rules, yung contours, limits ng power ng House of Representatives, mag-apply yun maski sino ang respondent. Hindi po pwede na stricto ka masyado doon kay Marcos at saka ilax mo yung mga requirements mo dito kay Vice President Sara Duterte. Violation yun ng Equal Protection Clause of the 1987 Constitution. Kaya nga, i-file talaga namin. Eh, maski nga hindi kami nagkonsulta doon kay Vice President Sara Duterte, pwede ba namin gawain yun? Pwede nating gawain yun kasi we are citizens of the Republic. Yung nakasaad under Article 11, Section 3 is one of the ways by which a citizen can directly seek the succor of the Supreme Court, the help of the Supreme Court in actually questioning grave abuses of discretion amounting to lack or excess of jurisdiction of the acts of the other branches of the government. At saka, ito po yung pinaka-correct na example. Eh di kami, minamahal namin masyado si Vice President Sara Duterte. Binoto namin yun. Binoto natin yun. More than 32 million voters ang nagboto sa kanya. Eh, itong mga congressman, ilan lang ang boto. Iba pa dyan. Hindi nga binoto ng diretso. Party list pa. Ang bias-bias pa. Sila pa yung complainant. Sila pa yung nag-endorse. Sila pa yung tumatayong ngayong napakaingay pa. Sila pa yung napakaingay. At sila pa yung mag-determine kung sufficient in substance ba, insufficient in form. Hindi man lang another ground nga din yan, hindi man lang nag-inhibit, pwede ba yun na sila na ang magiging investigator, sila na ang magngangalap ng ebidensya para palakasin, para ipahiya pa masyado si Vice President Sara Duterte na hindi naman yun sakop ng kanilang mga powers and authorities under the 1987 Constitution. So siyempre, mag-file kami ng kaso. Kaya natin ginawa yun. What is good for the gander should be good for the goose. Meaning, kung anong standard na in-apply nyo yung pag-dismiss doon sa kaso against kay Presidente Marcos, dapat ganun din yung standard na ginamit ninyo kay VP Sara Duterte. Kaya nag-file tayo.
Opo, ang lagi pong sinasabi po ng Kamara ay ang sole power sa pag-initiate ng impeachment ay nasa kanila. At lagi nilang inulit-ulit na itong kanilang hakbang ngayon ay in accordance sa kanilang House rules sa pagtalakay dito po sa impeachment and in accordance din sa yung pinakahuling decision po ng Korte Suprema na kinatigan din po yung inyo pong petition last time.
Totoo yan. The House of Representatives has the sole power to initiate impeachment complaints. However, the initiation process and the file and in the process of filing and perfecting such impeachment complaint, must be constitutional. It must be within the contours provided under the 1987 Constitution. Saan ka makakita na ang House of Representatives ngayon nagpa-issue pa ng mga sabina over certain corporations na hindi man lang nakasaad doon sa complaint? Saan ka nakakita yung complaint? Hindi naman nakasaad kung anong SALN, anong specific SALN ang nag-exceed o tumaas masyado yung kita ni allegedly ni Vice President Sara Duterte. Wala namang specificity yung complaint. Dito sa overbroad masyado yung mga sabina na ginawa nila na para na talagang fishing expedition ang ginawa nila. Sobra na yun. Kaya kailangan na dumulog tayo sa Korte Suprema para maklaro at masabihan sila, hindi po pwede yung ginagawa ninyo. Grave abuse of discretion yan. Violation yan sa due process. Kailangan fair. Kung ano yung in-apply doon kay Marcos, dapat yan din ang i-apply ninyo dito kay Vice Presidente Sara Duterte.
Opo, yung sinasabi nilang house rules po, attorney, inyo po bang nahimay din yun? At meron ba kayong nasilip doon na hindi pwede sa ilalim ng konstitusyon? At sino ba yung mananaig konstitusyon o yung house rules nila?
Well, meron sila, alam ko anong sinasabi niya. Una, yung Rule 3 Section 5 na ang gagamitin ko against them. Kasi yung Rule 3 Section 5 kasi in the determination of requirement of substance, it is actually met if there is a recital of facts constituting the offense charged and determinative of the jurisdiction of the committee. Meaning, dapat sa kanila, i-determine nila yung complaint kung ang mga allegations ba doon ay equivalent to grave violation of the Constitution, bribery, graft and corruption. Wala ngang klaro eh. Ang impeachment supposedly is personal. Hindi yan institutional. Ang mga allegations doon, pagka DepEd Secretary pa niya. Oo. Tapos, may mga allegations, nagbibigay ng mga envelope, hindi nga nakasaad kung sinong binigyan. Si Vice President ba mismo ang nambigay, hindi nakasaad doon. Hindi naman po pwede na yung mga kamalian kung meron man doon sa mga, sa mga staff, ay ipahid mo diretso doon sa Vice Presidente at the time when she was still a DepEd Secretary. Okay? Office-specific po yung crimes na iyon. Kaya nga, walang ultimate facts. Tapos sasabihin nila, yung nag-issue kami ng sabina, pursuant naman yun sa aming rule-making power. Nasa rules namin yan. Totoo yan. Oh, we concede to that. Pero, yung ginagawa kasi nila, yung clarificatory power nila to conduct clarificatory questionings, pareho yan sa piskalya. You can clarify, you can issue or you can actually ask clarificatory questions on matters raised in the complaint. Pero kung hindi yun nakasaad sa complaint, hindi ka pwede magsapina maski mga korporasyon na hindi nakasaad doon sa complaint, isali mo na. Pati yung mga SALN na hindi naman nakasaad specifically doon sa complaint, isasali mo na. Masyadong overbread na yung masyadong broad masyado yung ginawa nilang mga sabpina na ginawa, which is already a violation of the rights also of VP Sara Duterte. Iklaro ko lang ha, ito, sa Article 5 ng third complaint ni Savalya, no? Accordingly, Savalya invoked unexplained wealth and SALN non-disclosure. It alleges that respondent's salary could not explain hundreds of millions in her bank accounts and concludes that she failed to disclose assets and true net worth. O, yan lang, ha? Ang sabi niya. O, hindi naman nakasaad doon anong SALN, anong year ng SALN, anong specifics doon sa SALN, yung wala niya na disclose. O, doon din sa paragraphs 285 to 290 sa fourth complaint ni Cabrera, Article 5, nagsabi it refers to preliminary documentary leads, public records, omissions and inconsistencies in SALNs, suspicious cash flows, possible nominee arrangement, and ask for back records and forensic accounting. That is paragraphs 233 to 243, paragraphs 247 to 248. Okay? Very broad yung allegation, walang specificity. Doon sa tinuturo natin doon sa law school, yung cause of action mo must be specific so that you can establish a clear cause of action. Anong ginawa ng Committee on Justice? Ang Committee on Justice nagpasampina ng SALN covering 2007 to 2013. Oh, ilang taon yan? Ang daming taon yan. 6 years. 2016 to 2022 and 2022 to 2025. Nakahint ba yan sa complaint? Wala. Sila na lang ang nagdiretso na mula 2007 to 2013, 2016 to 2022, 2022 to 2025. Nagpasampina din sila sa BIR, sa ITRs ni VP Sara and Manasseh Carpio. Nagpasampina sa SEC General Information Sheets, audited financial statements and corporate documents of multiple companies na hindi man lang nakasaad doon sa complaint. Anong klase ito? Fishing expedition na ito. Why? This is a fishing expedition kasi napaka-overbroad ng kanilang sabpina na hindi man lang na-hint doon sa complaint. Very unfair. Ginawa ba nila yan kay Marcos? Hindi nila ginawa yan kay Marcos. Kay VP Sara lang. No? The complaints do not even identify the exact SALN year, exact omitted entry, the exact asset. Walang nakasaad doon sa kanilang complaint kung anong SAL-and-NIR yung may depekto, kung anong omitted entry doon, kung anong hidden asset doon. Wala yan sa complaint. Anong exact account, anong exact amount, exact false declaration with sufficient specificity. Pero yung sabi ng inisyo ay ang lawak ng periods, no? Lawak ng periods including 2007 onwards and extends to multiple corporations which are not even stated in the complaint. So the file records and objections that there was no nexus in the evidence, no, in the ultimate facts of the impeachment complaint stands, and that the corporations were not mentioned or included in the complaint, no? So this therefore proves our assertion that the committee was not proving a specifically pleaded discrepancy. It was actually broadly searching for one. It was actually conducting a fishing expedition, which is a violation of the rights of VP Sara Duterte. Kaya natin final talaga yon. Nasobrahan masyado. Huwag nila tayong sisihin sa mga kalukuhang ginagawa nila. Hindi nila ginawa yun kay Marcos. Bakit nila gagawin ito kay VP Sara Duterte? No? So, what is good for the gander should be good for the goose. So, ang makakorek lamang nito ang Korte Suprema.
Opo, attorney, ito bang pagsubpina pwedeng gawin diyan mismo sa Senado? Yung pagpapasubmina ng kasi sinabi nyo nga hindi pwede sa Kamara, pero sa Senado pwede rin po ba? Halimbawa kung umusad po yung impeachment.
You know, the Senate is the only body under the 1987 Constitution which can conduct trial. Yan nga din ang isang rason namin. Kung gugustuhin ng mga senador noon, I would submit that it may be able to do that in the Senate, but not here in the House of Representatives. They may be able to clarify certain matters which are stated specifically in the complaint. Hindi yung sila na ang nagbibigay ng grabing kalawak ng mga sabpina na hindi na nakasaad doon sa complaint. In-extend nila masyado na para bang ang aim nito ay ipahiya at i-destroy si VP Sara. Nagkandak-kandak na sila ng kanilang mini trial na wala naman sa kanilang kapangyarihan. Kaya nga bawal yun.
Opo. So, sa nakikita nyo po, kung nag-declare na sila na sufficient in form, substance, at grounds, kumbaga wala nang reason para magkaroon pa ng tinatawag nilang mini trial. Decision na hanggang sa plenaryo. Ipasa na sa
Mag-render na sila
Senado.
ng report. Mag-render na sila ng report at ipasa na nila sa what you call this, body, sa plenary. O, yun ang nakasaad sa batas sa ating 1987 Constitution ang ginawa nila, nag-mini trial pa sila. Na alam naman nila na the only body which can conduct such trial is the Senate. Kasalanan nila, ginawa nila ito. Nagkaroon na tuloy ako ng legal ground to file a petition for certiorari. Huwag nila akong sisihin. Sisihin nila sarili nila. Bakit nila ginawa yun? Yung standard na ginamit nila kay Marcos, napaka-stricto, dinismiss nila kaagad. Dito kay VP Sara, may mga sabpina pa sila ng maski ano-ano. Di naman nila ginawa yun kay Marcos. So, dahil sa kanilang ginagawa, nagkaroon ako ng rason ngayon na mag-file sa certiorari at hindi nila ako sisisihin. Sisisihin nila yung kanilang ginawa na nagbibigay ng ebidensya that they really committed grave abuse of discretion amounting to lack or excess of jurisdiction.
Opo, and sa pagkakalam ko, yung unang decision din ng Korte Suprema sa petition ninyo, sa petition ni Vice President Sara, nakasaad din doon na talagang bigyan ng pagkakataon yung due process talaga. And sa tingin nyo, doon sa proseso na ginawa ng Kamara, yung pag-declare nila sufficient form, substance, pati yung paghingi pa ng side ng Vice Presidente, na tumugon naman ang Vice Presidente, though hindi niya sinasabi, kumbaga hindi niya kinikilala yung naging kasi maraming question din. So enough na yun para resolbahin na okay, naganap na namin yung sinasabi na karapatan namin yung sole power na gawin ito, so magbobotohan na kami. So kumbaga na-meet na Lahat ng mga kailangang requirements, kumbaga, attorney.
Oo, na-meet na. Marami pa nga nag-answer eh. Yung answer daw ni VP Sara is a non-answer. Oo, kasi hindi daw minute yung substance ng mga complaint. O gano'n naman pala eh. Mag-render na kayo ng report. Bakit pa kayo mag-hearing dyan, mini trial dyan na wala naman yan sa inyong, powers and authority. O magpa-issue pa kayo ng overbroad na mga sabina na wala naman yan nakasaad doon sa complaint mismo. Oo. So, kaya nga, kung non-answer pala yun, edi i-resolve pa ninyo. Mag-render kayo ng report, magbutuhan kayo, edi i-submit nyo yung report nyo doon sa plenary para sa sa Senate. Ang ginagawa kasi nila, mag-mini trial sila. Papadala yung mga sabina, para magkaroon na sila ng opportunity to destroy VP Sara Duterte. Pero ang problema kasi niyan, hindi yun sakop ng kanilang powers and authority sa 1987 Constitution. Anong gagawin namin? Questionin namin sa Korte Suprema para mawasto ang mali.
Pati rin yung pagpapatawag sa sinasabi nilang witness laban sa pangalawang pangulo, nandoon yan sa sa mismong korte na impeachment court na mismo, which is ang Senado po.
Opo, doon na yan sa Senado. Ang kanilang trabaho, gawain na lang nila yung trabaho nila. Mag-render sila ng ng report, and then pagbutuhan nila, and then ipasa nila doon sa plenary. Para pero ang ginawa nila talaga wala na doon sa within their defined powers under their own rules and even under the 1987 Constitution. So therefore, we have to seek relief to the Supreme Court so that the Supreme Court can allocate properly the constitutional boundaries of the powers of the House of Representatives, specifically the Committee on Justice.
Meron pang balita according sa Kamara na baka umabot din hanggang Mayo ang kanila pong pagdinig or mini trial na binansagan na nilang mini trial yung impeachment laban kay Vice President Sara Duterte. Any thoughts, attorney?
Kaya nga, gagawin nga nilang circus. Gagawin nilang circus para siguro marami atakihin nila araw-araw siguro si VP Sara. Yan ang plano nila eh. Ang problema nga wala na yun sa kanilang wala na kaya yun sa kanilang mandate. Oo. Ang pagpalabas ng mga dokumento hindi man lang i-include pa yung mga ibang mga corporations na hindi man lang yun nakasaad doon sa impeachment complaint bawal yun. No? It only has one aim, and that is to politically destroy VP Sara Duterte, and that should not be countenanced. That is why we have to seek the aid of the Supreme Court, which is the highest court of the land.
Tsaka meron na rin yata silang parang mga pahayag na gusto na talaga nilang i-impeach, no? Yung mismong komite, ang pangalawang pangulo, tapos meron pang statement yung isa sa mga leader ng komite na kumpiyansa siya na enough yung boto para ma-impeach sa kabuuan ng Kamara ang pangalawang pangulo, pero bakit pa pinapatagal?
Kaya nga meron pa nga question dyan yung iba dyan, like for example si Congresswoman De Lima, I respect her, kaibigan kami na nagka-deal kami niyan in the past, no? Specifically doon sa Maguindanao Massacre, no? Ang problema kasi niyan, isa siya sa mga endorser sa second and third complaint. May mga iba ding mga congressman dyan na mga endorser din ng mga impeachment complaints. Bakit nandun sila sa Committee on Justice? Supposedly, delikadesa would have required them to inhibit kasi iba yung rule kasi ng Committee on Justice Constitutional filter yan sila yung sila yung sasala ng sila yung sasala ng complaint kung may sufficient inform and sufficiency in substance ba yun? Oo, o may probable cause pa. Paano ka maka-objectively determine kung may sufficiency in form, sufficiency in substance, kung may probable cause ba? na ikaw man yung endorse ng complaint, edi biased ka. Kung biased ka, edi dapat wala ka doon. Sasabi ka sana, I would have to make a disclosure. I was the congresswoman who endorsed the third complaint. So for purposes of the discussion, I would voluntarily recuse myself from participating in the discussion so that the discussion, so that any and all proceedings would not be tainted by bias. Yun sana ang dapat ginawa. Yung mga endorser pa, mga pinakamaingay, which again, to my humble mind, is another ground of grave abuse of discretion amounting to lack or excess of jurisdiction. Yung may mga pronouncement pa sila that we have the numbers. Oh, imagine that.
Maliban sa numbers, attorney, meron pang pahayag na meron din silang mga ebidensya. Pero bakit kailangan pang patagalin kung may ebidensya naman?
Precisely. Ang trabaho kasi ng Committee on Justice, no? Let me remind them, is yan sila eh. They are supposed to evaluate a complaint. Their job is to evaluate the complaint, not manufacture one. Oh, yan ang problema dito. Nagmamanufacture na sila through the issuance of the subpoenas para kung may makuha sila doon, idagdag nila. Hindi po pwede yun. Hindi po pwede kasi you are now acting like the investigator of the complainant, which should not be the case, because they are the gatekeepers. They are not the evidence seekers. Yun ang aking tingin dyan.
Opo. Dito naman tayo sa naging reaksyon ni Congressman Terry Ridon na sinasabing, quote-unquote, wala daw kayong legal personality. Sabi pa niya rito, their claim of taxpayer status as basis for standing is misplaced. Taxpayer suits are recognized only in cases involving the illegal disbursement of public funds. No such disbursement is involved in impeachment proceedings. Sabi pa niya rito, this petition is a clear diversionary tactic designed to deflect from the impeachment proceedings now underway against the Vice President. Sabi pa niya, the petition will not stop the resolve of the House Committee on Justice to exact accountability for serious allegation against her, including the misuse of confidential funds, issuance of death threats, and so on and so forth. Sabi pa niya rito, tinatanggi rin niya na this is not a fishing expedition. We have is an impeachable official who continues to evade accountability. Attorney.
Well, in the first place, no, a taxpayer suit, no, to counter him, to counter his argument, the mere holding of the committee hearings involves disbursement of public funds. Yes. Why? Because they are paid stipends there. And as a matter of fact, the mere their operations, daily operations would involve the expenditure of public funds. So therefore, the taxpayer has the requisite legal personality to question that. Granting for the sake of argument that such may not involve the disbursement of public funds. Note that the question here involved is a case of transcendental importance. Now, the Supreme Court in so many cases have decided that if a question is of transcendental importance, then taxpayer suits may be allowed so that it can properly, the Supreme Court can properly inform its symbolic function. One of the functions of the Supreme Court, one of the many functions of the Supreme Court is its symbolic function, and that is to guide future actions so that the people can be properly guided as to how to deal with impeachment cases in the years to come. And that is why in many cases already decided by the Supreme Court, legal standing has been decided with flexibility. So kaya nga noon ngang sa first impeachment complaint ni VP Sara, I also filed a case, Torion versus House of Representatives. It was allowed simply because according to the Supreme Court, the case is a matter of transcendental importance. So, yung argument na yan baka makalusot tayo. But of course, I do believe that that is still within the discretion of the Supreme Court. If I will be allowed or the other petitioners would be allowed to continue or to have that petition be considered on the merits by the Supreme Court.
Opo. So matotal po, dito po sa mga pahayag ng mga miyembro ng House Committee on Justice, iba po yung kanilang mga sinasabi, kumpiyansa sila sa kanilang mga sinasabi, pero iba yung kanilang ginagawa. Kasi parang pinapahaba pa nila kahit na kumpiyansa sila na may ginawang masama. Kumbaga, ang simpleng pagkakaintindi kasi ng mga ordinaryong Juan de la Cruz attorney, nagdeklara ka na ng sufficiency, form, substance at grounds, tapos kaliwat kanan ng mga interviews na kumpiyansa kayo na talagang may nagawang kamalian ang pangalawang pangulo, pero iba yung ginagawa, pinapahaba pa. So ito ngayon yung question din, attorney.
Yes, yes. Alam mo, ang ibig lamang sabihin, parang nakuryente sila doon sa aking petisyon. parang nagpanic. Oo. Kasi alam nila na meron silang sipyat kung sa Bisaya pa. Oo.
Mali.
Ano yung sipyat? Oo, meron silang mali. Oo. Kasi ang pinaka-stark talaga na mali doon ay yung standard under Committee Resolution 111 na ginamit nilang basihanan in dismissing the impeachment complaint of President Marcos. Basahin mo yung resolution doon. Sabi nila, there are no ultimate facts that would constitute as impeachable crime in the complaint filed. O, tapos, there was no sufficient evidence daw, etc. etc. Yung standard na ginamit nila doon kay Presidente Marcos, dapat same standard dito kay VP Sara Duterte. Meron nga akong kaibigan na nandun sa kanyang Facebook account, kasama kami doon sa isang kaso. Sabi niya, ultimate facts may not necessarily involve all the necessary facts, all the perfection of a complaint because such may be remedied during trial proper. Ganun ba? O bakit yung kay Marcos, defective daw yung complaint, dinismiss nila kaagad. O bakit dito hindi nila in-apply yun? O granting for the sake of argument na meron na ngang sufficient facts, meron ng sufficiency in substance, may probable cause na. Bakit pa kayo mag-mini-trial? Bakit pa kayo manghanap ng mga ebidensya kung malakas na pala ang kaso, no? Ang ibig sabihin yan, meron kayong ibang pakay. Yung ibang pakay ay hindi na naaayon kasi sa ating 1987 Constitution. Nang abuso kayo. Kaya nang abuso kayo, kami naman ng mga abogado, Attorney Torion, si Attorney Vic Rodriguez, si Attorney Jimmy Bondok, si Attorney JB Hinlo, si Attorney Raul Lambino, no? At iba pang mga abogado, si Attorney Martin Delgra, no? Dudulog kami sa Korte Suprema kasi hindi na ninyo ginagawa kung ano ang dapat na gagawin sa impeachment complaint. Kaya kailangan kaming mag-file ng kaso sa Korte Suprema. Dahil ito sa katangahan ninyo, dahil ito sa mga maling mga ginawa ninyo, kaya kami dumulog sa Korte Suprema. Kaya huwag niyo kaming sisihin. Sisihin ninyo mga sarili ninyo.
Bago rin kayo nagpetisyon, nakausap ko rin yung defense team, no, ang tagapagsalita ng defense team ng pangalawang pangulo, at kabilang din yan sa natanong ko. Bago pa man kayo nagpasaklolo na sa Korte Suprema, kung magpapasaklolo din sila, kabilang yan sa kanilang mga steps, no, kasi meron din siyang argumento doon na kung magpapatuloy yung hearing, ang problema dyan, kayo lang magtatanong, kami hindi kami makapag cross-examine doon sa kanilang mga check talaga, no. So iwanan lang po natin yung issue na yun, attorney. Dito lang tayo sa pangalawa at huling topic lang po, kasi marami pong kinote po kayo sa inyo pong post kahapon na tandem na Sara Baste 2028 for sure. Naalaan mo na maraming mga humugot doon. Ito ba ay personal na opinion or kagustuhan, or may ano ba dito ang PDP Laban, kasi kayo rin po ay kabilang sa PDP Laban? Ano po yung dahilan din, attorney, bakit Sara Baste ang inyo pong na-post doon na umani rin po ng reaction mula sa public?
Una po, klaruhin ko talaga, personal ko lang po yun na opinion. Okay, wala pong kinalaman ang PDP Laban yan, wala pong kinalaman yung ibang tao man, no? Nirerespeto ko po si Senator Rodante Marcoleta, no? Nirerespeto ko po si Senator Cayetano. Nirerespeto ko na grabe yung aking brother in faith, si Senator Robin Padilla. Nirerespeto ko ang number 1 senator, si Senator Bongo, at iba pang vice presidentials. Pero yung personal na opinion, pag-weigh ko kasi, ang tingin ko kasi, si Senator Rodante Marcoleta is a very good candidate for VP. Pero nung nakita ko yung mga sessions doon sa Senado, napakasayang kung walain natin siya doon. Siya yung isa sa mga vanguards natin doon. Pareho din kay Senator Cayetano. Kinakailangan natin sila doon, no? So, kinakailangan natin sila doon, kaya dapat nandun sila sa Senado because they are really fitted to be senators, no? Wala na tayong tagapagtanggol, wala na tayong mga debatista kung walain mo doon si Senator Marcoleta at saka si Senator Cayetano. Napakagaling nila na mga abogado, kaya kinakailangan natin sila sa Senado. Si Senator Robin Padilla, no? Napakabagay sana na maging vice presidente. Pero kung walain mo siya sa Senado, wala na kaming boses ng mga Muslim doon. Oh, at malaki yung puso niya. Siya yung may pinakamalaking puso na ating senador. So kailangan natin din siya doon sa Senado. Si Senator Bongo naman, advocate for health, no? Nakikita natin na mas epektibo siya kung nandun pa rin siya sa Senado. At ang nakita ko kasi, to ensure continuity, no? Kailangan na sino ba ang makapagtaguyod doon sa mga programa ni Tatay Digong, the best persons? Yung mga anak niya. So, yung para ma-ensure natin yung continuity, sa tingin ko lang, personal na opinion ko lamang yun, ay dapat yung kapatid niya, si Mayor Baste Duterte, na para maipatuloy natin yung mga programa ng mga Duterte. Kasi 6 years is too short for a very good president, while too long for a very bad president. Kaya nga, let us learn from the lessons of the present presidency. Kung hindi nag-give in si BP Inday, siya sana ang presidente ngayon. Nag-give in, nag-trust siya doon kay Presidente Marcos. Anong nangyari sa atin? Nagkaletsi-letsi tayo. Maski nakaibigan sila masyado ni Ma'am, no offense man, kay Ma'am Amy Marcos, hindi rin makontrol ni Ma'am Amy Marcos yung kanyang kapatid. Tingnan natin kung saan tayo ngayon. Halos nasa kangkungan na tayo ngayon.
Opo.
Di natin na mahirap. Kung ang vice presidente si Baste, hindi talaga niya tatraidorin yung kanyang kapatid. Di siguraduhin natin yung vice presidente natin ay hindi tatraidor sa ating presidente at may continuity yung policies. Kaya dyan, nag-post ako. Sana hindi magalit yung ating mga kaibigan ng mga senador. Opinion ko lamang po yun. Pwede po ako magkamali.
Opo. Attorney, ang common na critic din yan, possible, is yung kagaya ng kanilang pag-question sa kakayanan ni dating Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte. At syempre, alam mo naman na sasabihin nila, galing lang yan sa LGU, lokal na pamahalaan. Anong kakayanan yan na maging presidente? Hindi yan naging national figure. Kasi sa mahabang panahon po, attorney, yung mga nagiging presidente po natin, nagiging, kumbaga, ang ano nila is national figure talaga sila sa mga national agency or naging mga senador, pero na-break lang yan yata sa panahon ni former President Rodrigo Duterte, na though siya ay galing sa lokal, no, sa isang lokal na pamahalaan sa Mindanao, sumikat naman siya at naging national figure din. Nakilala din siya dahil sa style ng pamumuno. Ano po yung magiging ano nyo po dyan? Tingin nyo po na bakit karapat dapat silang itong dalawa, Vice President Sara and si Mayor Baste?
Well, insofar as Vice President Sara Duterte, I think there is no issue anymore about her competence, no? Kasi nakadaan siya mayor for a long time, no? As as a local chief executive of Davao City, and she has proven herself as an excellent local official. And she has already trained herself also for a national office, being a vice president, no? And she has seen the terrain already, and she has studied the laws, and she has likewise studied the policies, and she can really be a very good and effective president for our country. Insofar as Mayor Baste Duterte is concerned, he has likewise proven himself as a competent local official. Naging vice mayor siya, naging mayor siya, and ngayon fitted talaga siya na magiging vice president in order to prepare him for the presidency after 6 years, no? Kaya nga meron siyang magiging role din diyan, no? I'm sure kung pipiliin siya ni Vice President Sara, alam ko po na may nalapitan na si Vice President Sara Duterte. I acknowledge that. Pero vinoice out ko lang yung opinion para naman na malaya naman, this is a democratic country, baka makita din yung perspective na pinipresent ko ngayon about the need for continuity and the need to ensure that we are free from any betrayal. We are free from any courses of action that may defeat the purpose of continuity of policies. Kaya nga, who knows, no? Baka makita yan na perspective na yan na ultimately it can be good for our country, no? So that there is really continuity of policies, then baka masunod yan. Pero kung hindi, at least nakapagsabi ako kung ano yung opinion ko. Hindi naman ako nagsasabi na ito na ifa-follow natin. Sinuggest ko lang yan, flinote ko lang yan. Kasi sa tingin ko, ito po yung nakakabuti sa ating bansa. Wala tayong continuity of policies. Sayang masyado yung na simulan ni Tatay Digong, yung build program natin. Nagkaroon pa tayo ng pandemic, pero nakaya natin yung pandemic dahil sa kanyang strong leadership. Tayo ngayon, maski nagyera na doon sa Middle East, ang pinag-uusapan natin ay impeachment process pa rin, no? Kung panahon ito ni Tatay Digong, he would have put a stop to this. 'Di ba? Nung panahon ni Tatay Digong, there was a move also to have Vice President Robredo to be impeached. Sabi ni Tatay Digong, tigil niyo yung mga kalokohan niyo yan. We should concentrate in the development of our country. O anong ginawa ng mga congressmen? Di nag-stop sila because there was strong leadership. Sa panahon ngayon,
Opo.
hindi na natin pag-usapan.
Attorney, maliban doon sa napupusuan po ninyo na forecast or tandem po na Sara Baste, meron din po kayong kalakip doon sa inyong post. Kaugnay nga naman po dito po sa magiging election po natin na parang sumatotal gusto nyo ng hybrid. Maaari nyo bang ipaliwanag lalo na't sabi po ninyo dito dapat na ma-implement yung Section 31 ng RA Republic Act 9369.
Yes, dapat kasi maski gaano kalakas ng mga Duterte po. Maski gaano kalakas po ng mga Duterte, I will just start this. Okay. Yes. Okay. Andito kasi ako sa hotel kasi natutulog na yung mga anak ko. Dito ako sa lobby. So, maski gaano kalakas, we have to protect our votes. And that is why I am urging the people to also join my cause. Our cause, supposedly. And that is to have Section 31 of Republic Act 9369 implemented. Yung hybrid, yung manual counting in the precinct level. Kung anong resulta, pwede na electronic pero kailangan talaga na imano-mano basahin yung mga boto kada balota. Kaya para yung mga watchers, nakikita nila kung ano talaga yung binoto ng mga tao at may data tayo kada presinto para kayong data natin kada presinto, ma-marshal natin, malalaman natin kung tama ba yung na-transmit doon sa Municipal Board of Canvassers at meron din tayong data kung i-determine natin kung tama ba yung na-transmit doon sa Provincial Board of Canvassers. Kaya para hindi na tayo madaya. Kaya kinakailangan na ma-implementa talaga yan para maprotektahan natin ang boto. Siguro ako,
Opo.
napakarami po ng mga Duterte supporters. Pero hindi tayo sigurado sa magiging resulta kung hindi ma-implement yung Section 31 of Republic Act 9369.
Opo. So hindi
Kaya nga-
hindi na kailangan po attorney sa tingin nyo ng panibagong batas or pag-amyenda sa batas para mangyari yung hybrid na klase po ng sistema sa election.
Well, to my mind, mere implementation of Section 31 is enough. But, kung merong magpasa ng batas to really make
Known as Kong Meow. Bakit ba mahilig ka sa cats? Why do you love cats?
Sa cute sila at nagbameow-meow.
That's it? Kinakausap mo ba ang mga pet
Yes.
cats mo?
I talk to them more than people.
Talagang naiintindihan mo sila?
Hindi.
Hindi.
I mean, pusa sila so they don't really speak. So hindi ko sila maintindihan. Because they do not have the same language as us.
But when you do meow meow or say meow meow sa Congress, meron ba talagang words in your head or you just do that for fun or to mock people or anong reason ng pagma-meow meow mo?
Well, it's not necessarily that I do it in Congress, it's that I do it everywhere, and Congress is just part of that everywhere which I do it in. So it's not, hindi lang naman sa Congress ko ginagawa yun. Actually, I meow more in private and in settings outside of Congress. In Congress, I try to be more professional. Pero nag-meow-meow pa rin ako doon.
Okay. And anong reaction ng mga friends mo when you meow meow? Hindi ba sila nawiwirdohan? Have they given you feedback on when you do that?
I mean, it's normal. Congress has plenty of interesting people already. So, okay lang naman yun. It's not, at least hindi ako yung like nagnako ng hundreds of billions or yung mga may kaso murder, rape, yung mga ganon. So the meowing is ultimately harmless.
Yeah, ultimate. And it is, yeah. It is very harmless. Nakakatuwa lang kasi kakaiba talaga siya. You're the first person, I think, ever that
To
does
meow?
the meow meow. Oo naman. Sino pa ba? May
Maraming
mga
nagbo-meow-meow pero
nag-arf-arf ba?
hindi lang sila mga national figures. Mga tao lang, mga normal citizens sila mo meow-meow, mahilig sa mga pusa.
So meron ka rin kasama pala. Okay, what
Kasi
was it
yung
like
iba, pag meow-meowan ko sila, sasabi ng mahilig na sila sa pusa, tapos meow-meow din sila.
that nagkakaintindihan naman kayo?
I mean, no, pero
No, okay.
it's the thought that counts and that's what matters.
Okay, and you grew up in a family of politicians. When you were born, your father was a municipal mayor, your mother was a councilor, and you were named after your great-grandfather, Francisco
Yes,
Barzaga,
who was also a mayor.
yeah, and he was what they call the municipal president of Dasmariñas in the
Yes.
1900s.
He was also part of the KKK, everything.
Naging part pa siya ng
Yeah, it was
KKK.
during the revolution.
Wow.
So after the revolution, he was appointed as
Oo nga, no? 1900s, shortly
municipal
after
treasurer
the...
and then the mayor.
Yeah, so shortly after our freedom from the Spanish colonization.
Yes.
So what was that like growing up in a family of politicians? And did that influence your desire to be in politics?
Kind of. It's similar to growing up in a family of doctors where you would want to work in the medical field, or a family of businessmen where would you want to start your own business or continue the family business. It's similar to that.
Okay.
It's inevitable for a child to eventually want to follow in their parents' footsteps. And that's just a pattern that we see in society every time.
Back in 2025, when you won, senatorial candidate Luke Espiritu said that you only won because you were part of a political family. In your honest assessment, would you be where you are today without your surname?
Well, without my surname, it would be very difficult since you can't really run without a surname.
No, being
It's
a
a part of the
Barzaga.
registration.
And being a Barzaga and, having that political pedigree.
Well, that's impossible to hypothesize because my whole life I was already living under the assumption that I already have my surname. So Would I be living under a different family or under a different surname?
Oo, so kunwari hindi ka galing sa political family at tumakbo ka sa Cavite, do you think you'd have the same chances of winning?
No. But at the same time, if I was not living in a political family, I might not even run. I might not have even pursued candidacy in the first place. So it's a very impossible hypothetical scenario because it's like saying that if you had different circumstances of birth, you would pursue a different path in life. I mean, yeah, that's definitely true. That's one of the most obvious things in the world, that your circumstances at birth would ultimately lead to what you would be in the future.
Oh, so I get what you're saying. It does.
So what exactly
There's
is
so
the
many,
point here? If I was not...
in statistics, maraming confounding
Yes.
factors. But when it comes to the anti-political dynasty bill, do you support that, considering you're also part of a political dynasty?
The anti-political dynasty bill.
Yeah.
Well, there are multiple versions of it. The thing is that what I do not support is not necessarily the bill itself, but rather the very limited scope of the bill. If you're banning political dynasties, you have to ban all of them. You can't just make certain provisions that allow certain types of political dynasties while banning other types of political dynasties, which is what I'm seeing, because it's only limited to the
Parents, I think second
yes,
degree
parents,
of consanguinity and affinity.
Second degree of consanguinity, and that's too broad of a term. It allows way too many political dynasties to continue.
Oo,
And
so
one
you're
that's-
willing pala kahit larger,
Yes.
the other versions that allow up to fourth degree of consanguinity and affinity. But your brother is vice mayor. Okay lang sa'yo kung
Yeah,
this
they
will
all get
prevent?
removed.
Oo, okay lang sa'yo?
Less political rivals.
Paano kung ikaw yung sabihin nila mag-step down? Okay lang sa'yo?
We'll be fighting.
So hindi ka magba-back down?
Yes, I won't back down, not even against my own family or allies. That's just how it is. And
seem to
only
be-
the strongest will remain.
So you think you're stronger than your brother?
Yes, we'll all just have. If the political dynasty bill were to pass, we'll all just be in a cage match, and the one who leaves will be the remaining member of the Versaga family in politics.
Pumayag na ba yung kapatid mo dyan? Alam niya na yan?
No.
Well, back in 2022, your father, who was then NUP President si Elpidio Barzaga, he publicly endorsed Leni Robredo in a rally. And in that same rally, you chanted BBM, 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 and then you called for people to vote for him.
Yes. And it was successful because Marcos won by 200,000 votes in
Sa
Cavite, which is
Cavite.
100K higher. I mean, in Dasma.
Yeah.
Which is 100K higher than Lenny did. Back then, in 2016, they actually kind of tied with Marcos winning by a few thousands. Now he won by a large margin.
And you think it's because of your endorsement?
Well, yes. Because the rest of my team during the 2022 elections actually campaigned for Robredo Duterte instead of Marcos Duterte. And they had a very strong political machinery. I was just posting online, but we still won.
Yeah. But yung ganun ba, pinaalam mo sa parents mo, and should Leni Robredo, for example, run in 2028, would you endorse her like your father did?
I already declared my endorsement for Vice President Sara Duterte. So I don't think I'll be endorsing Leni Robredo.
So you're very strong in terms of deciding for yourself. Like back then, kahit iba yung in-endorse ng parents mo, you don't mind charting your own path.
Yes.
And in October 2025, you announced that you plan to file impeachment proceedings against President Bongbong Marcos back then. What changed? Kasi yun nga, naging BBM supporter ka, and you were even Deputy Majority Leader to Sandro Marcos. So, ngayon ba, are you in speaking terms with former Speaker Martin Romualdez and Majority Leader Sandro Marcos?
I don't see them in Congress, and they don't see me in Congress recently because I've been suspended. So I can't really comment on that because we do not speak outside of Congress.
So, no personal friendships.
No.
Pero ano nag-trigger for you to change alliances? Like you were a BBM supporter despite your father having a different stance. Bakit nagbago?
Also, I previously stated I think it was also here in the interview, it started when the party and Martin Romualdez accused me of soliciting votes to change the speakership, where I was just minding my own business. And so I thought that Well, if they were going to do that, it's better for me to just leave the party and withdraw my support for the current administration.
So doon pala nag-start yun. Mhm. You've also had several public spats back and forth with Palace Press Officer Undersecretary Claire Castro.
Yes, but everyone had conflict with Claire
Yeah.
Castro. You could practically say that to a random Filipino citizen and they would agree.
Na meron din silang
Yes.
spat with Yusek
that they have
Claire.
a conflict with PCO Claire Castro because everyone's angry at her.
Well, you have a lot of followers and admirers. So, out of curiosity, what do you think is Yusek Claire Castro not doing right? At ano naman yung mga, kung meron man, in your opinion, tamang ginagawa niya? But before you answer this question, we'll have to take a short break.
Short break.
At the forefront, we'll be right back. Congressman Kiko, kanina pinag-uusapan natin, you've had several public spats with Undersecretary Claire Castro, who's a Palace Press officer. And sabi mo, marami rin naman galit kay Yusek Claire. But you have a lot of followers and admirers. You're very social media savvy. What do you think is Yusek Claire not doing right from your personal point of view? And what is she doing right naman, if any?
It's not necessarily what she's doing right. It's from a legal perspective. From a legal perspective, if you're a lawyer and you had one of the worst clients possible, like he committed multiple crimes and he's not bothering to hide them or something similar to that sort, how do you defend such a person? So from Yusek Claire's current situation, it's very hard to decide what you could be doing right because she has to defend the current administration, which is so filled with controversies and scandals that it's basically impossible for her to defend.
So it's not so much that yung pag sinasabi mong maraming galit kay Yusek Claire or marami siya nakakaaway, it's because of her difficult position having to defend this administration. What
And
about
she has to defend practically every decision and every issue. And at the same time, she has to find a way to justify the decisions made by the administration. So, for example, in the impeachment case, she has to find a way to justify Congress supporting, prioritizing an impeachment over the fuel crisis, or the administration prioritizing the impeachment over the fuel crisis. And that's a very hard thing to do. Like, not even the best lawyer could defend a client who is acting in such a manner.
pareho kayong, one of the things that you have in common is pareho kayong nag-vlog with Yusek Claire kahit na Palace Press officer siya. She still has her personal blog. Do you think that's helpful when it comes to, performing her role? Kasi kahit na personal blog niya, baka that might be perceived as speaking on behalf of the administration.
Yes, because you can't really separate yourself from your work. The people ideally see that once they're finished with work or once Congress is done or once they're back at home, they're back to their personal lives. But it's not the case for politics. We do not get personal lives. That's part of the sacrifice you make in order to be able to influence national policy in such a way that you're capable of helping or hurting so many people.
When the ethics complaints were filed against you last year, one of the posts that Deputy Speaker Ronnie Puno presented was your statement saying, "Why is there a Women's Month, but there is no Men's Month? Why do you want your men's to last for a month?" What is your rationale for posting something like this?
It's the joke.
It's
funny.
supposed to be a joke.
Because
Okay.
men's could be men's is a shortened term for menstruation, which is the it's a very long explanation for that, but the cycle for women for their reproduction.
So people,
Yes. So during menstruation, women suffer plenty of they have plenty of symptoms that are not necessarily desirable. I don't have to
understand
explain
what
to
you're
you.
saying. Okay.
You understand
So it was
exactly
meant
what
to
I'm
be
saying.
a joke.
Yes.
Pero did you mean to disrespect women? Don't you feel na yung mga gantong posts ay makaka-offend ng mga babae?
Well, firstly, it's not applicable under the ethics committee. Well, it's their interpretation of it, but it was made prior to me assuming my role as a sitting congressman. So
So hindi ka pa nasa Congress at time?
yeah, firstly, by based on that alone, it's already in question. It already can be questioned because I was not a congressman when I made that post, and whether such an action could be made. Like, for example, could you be held accountable for previous actions you made prior to being
before
member of
you're
the House of
incumbent. Yes,
Representatives?
oo.
That's something that could be questioned already.
Yeah, I think the both Senate and House, it has to be for actions that pertain to your function as a sitting member of the House of Representatives or Senate. So, meron ka na
That's
bang...
prior to the elections.
So prior to the elections
Yes.
yun. Pero pagka ganyan ba, meron ka na bang post na pinagsisihan mo na, ay, I should have said that, or it wasn't a tasteful joke? Meron ka na bang mga naging moments na ganun?
Not really.
Wala pa.
Because it's not like the...
And I'm speaking beyond
Yes.
this type of post ha. Like in general, meron ka na bang na-regret na post mo?
Not really also. Because it's also about, what's the proper way to word it? There are other congressmen who did much worse things that are not being punished, like the one I previously stated in the previous interview about Richard Gomez assaulting a senior citizen. And these sorts of issues clearly show that there is a political aspect to the filing of the ethics complaint.
So for you, feeling mo, pinapersonal ka? Or when you started speaking out against the administration, as you said earlier, that's what you say is the cause for your suspensions?
And it's not a feeling because it is something that could be observed in a pattern. So you can see various other congressmen being involved in other issues yet not being prosecuted by the ethics committee, but you can see those you can see opposition congressmen being prosecuted for much more minor issues that are being suspended by the ethics committee.
How does your family react when you get entangled in controversies?
They get-
Particularly your mom. Anong sinasabi
They
niya?
didn't like it at first, but now at this point they're kind of used to it.
So your mom, anong sinasabi ng mom?
Yeah, it's been 6 months. No, okay lang. Ganun lang.
Okay lang. Hindi niya pinapagalitan?
Well, she
or-
tells me to stop, but like I'm not stopping for that.
So would you say you're stubborn? Nakikinig ka ba? Dati, when your father was still alive, it seems like you followed his footsteps when you also ran in Congress. Siya ba ang pasabi sa'yo? Sino between your parents ang kaya kang pagsabihan na pinapakinggan mo?
No, I do whatever I believe is right. And sometimes, well, it's part of growing up that you have to accept that your parents are capable of making mistakes as well and capable of not making the right decisions. And sometimes when I believe that I'm doing the right decision while what they would choose is the wrong decision, I would do what I believe is right.
So you're really independent. Paiba-iba yung mga nakikitang babae sa mga posts mo sa social media. So may mga nagtatanong, what's the status of your love life right
Single
now?
and ready to mingle. Meow.
Meron pang translation din sa cat language. So are you the marrying type?
Marrying?
Oo. So do you see yourself settling down and getting married in the future? Bagay,
not
bata ka pa naman.
Because marriage, there are plenty of issues there as well, and I can't focus on the marriage right now. And I don't think I'll be focusing on that in the future.
Not in the future?
Not even in the future, because it's much more convenient not to be married than to be married right now.
How many cats do you have?
20 plus.
20 plus?
20
Oh my
plus.
goodness. Alam mo, di ba sa mga babae, meron silang stereotype that if you grow up to be an old maid, so single, hindi kasal, tapos marami kang pusa, tawag nila cat lady. So hindi ka ba natatakot na ikaw magiging
I'm a
catman?
catman. I'm a catman. Actually, natakot ako na hindi ako magiging catman because I want to be a catman in the future.
Okay, so last year you reportedly failed to appear in your ethics hearing because you stayed up late playing computer games. Is this an exaggeration, or do you still
Oh no, I
really-
actually do stay up late all the time playing computer games,
Up to
especially now
now.
considering that I'm suspended. So I have plenty of time to stay up
Okay,
late.
so
playing
last
computer
question,
games.
how do you address criticisms that you're too immature to be holding a post in the House of Representatives?
Oh, who exactly is saying that?
Yung mga tao na nagsabi, oh, tamo, nagko-computer game siya ng up to late, di ba?
Well, regarding criticisms, whatever you do, you would have your own critics, and you have people that will criticize you for it. If you stay up late playing computer games, you'll be criticized. If you meow meow, you'll be criticized. If you criticize Romualdez or Marcos, you'll be criticized. If you don't criticize them, you'll be criticized as well. So whatever option you make, there will be someone who is against that option. So it's impossible to address them all. If they don't like it, then they are free not to vote for me. But I would continue to do what I believe is right, and I will continue to do what I believe to be the most efficient in combating the corruption that I see.